Listeners, hello everybody. I welcome you all to the Beautiful Things Come From Struggle podcast. And today, I have a beautiful friend of mine. I call him V, but he's going to let you know his full name, and he's going on his 21st year of incarceration. However, he's a year out from finally being free. And today, folks, he's going to talk about mental health in prison. So, Brother V, could you please give the listeners a rundown of who you are, where you're from, et cetera, good brother?
Peace. Good afternoon. Good morning. Thank you for having me. First off, my name is Van Lou Gustave, Haitian origin. I came here from Brooklyn when I was about 12, 10 or so, and then give or take about 12, I was up there in Somerville, Mass. That's where I come from. That's where I came of age, and so on. Um, I have been incarcerated for 21 years straight through. Prior to that, I did a quick 9 months around 2002. So I haven't been home long from 2002 to right now. God willing, I'll be out of here about next year time. So absolutely.
So good, brother. Would you like, you know, I noticed that just recently mental health, man, is a topic, man, that now more and more people, are free to talk about, especially in the African American and Latino community. But still, within the prison system, people find it uncomfortable to talk about. So could you talk, a little bit and let the listeners know about mental health in prison and how you have been, winning this battle, winning this war against your mental health while incarcerated, good brother?
All right, that's such a great question. Very, very important at this time. So I've always suffered with mental illness since I was a kid. I've always been suffering with mental health since I was a kid, and I just didn't know it. And being from the islands, my family didn't know anything about mental health, so we didn't do it. But even further than that, being in the industry, I mean the streets and the neighborhoods that we come from, it's taboo to deal with mental health. We don't trust it, and we have no reason to trust it because they only trying to jam us up and put a label on us, calling us super predators and so on, making us seem as if we're just dangerous young individuals, when in fact we're just struggling like anybody else. We come from trauma, and so being from trauma and being incarcerated in itself is trauma. So that's PTSD on top of things. Never mind the struggles we see in the streets. But while I've been incarcerated, I had to figure out what's going on with me because mental illness literally is the reason why I'm in here right now. Not because of drug dealing, not because of gang banging, solely because my mind was off and the system failed me. And so because I was sharp and intellectual, because I come from a nation of gods and earths, so I know the studies of myself. I know I got knowledge of self. So because of that, um, they overlook me because I dress well, I speak well, I'm very articulated, and I was a young kid. So they just see me as, yeah, he's just trouble, and they ignored it. So that's how I got it. But now since I've been incarcerated, the mental illness, the mental health people has came to see me because my mental health started to deteriorate, and I started to worsen itself because I'm dealing with the fact that I'm been stripped from my family, and I committed a murder early on, and that left a lot of trauma on me. And so in here there was no support other than more violence, more destruction, and everyone was afraid of talking to mental health. But I knew I was brave enough. I'm so glad I was brave enough to speak to them and open up and start to get my mind right. And since I started to really realize, okay, I got potential, and a lot more people can benefit from my voice and my struggles of being mental illness. Having mental illness, suffering from multiple conditions, it ruins you.
Yeah, I know about, the taboo being in the system and, how brothers and sisters that are incarcerated, especially, man, from the communities in which we arise from, don't like to talk about mental illness, man. But they say that there's like 80% of those incarcerated suffer some sort of condition. Um, so I applaud you for being honest and open to talk about it. But at the same time, another thing I applaud you for is doing what you need to do to get yourself mentally right, not just physically, and emotionally, but totally mentally right, man. But I'd like you to just explain to the listeners today some of the groups, the mental health self groups and other groups or educational groups that you are involved with and that you are taking within the P9 facility.
Okay, so as far as the programs that has helped me cultivate my thinking and change it from one end to another, being that I'm an extreme person. Now, I suffer with borderline personality disorder. I suffer with bipolar disorder. These conditions, really, there's no medication for it, nor do I want to poison my body too much with any of that stuff. But I don't shy away from it, but it's not the all fix. The main thing that I do in here is DBT. Now, there's this mental health group called DBT, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, which allows you to basically give logic to your emotions, to your feelings, which is sounds like it's impossible, but it's not. See, when we don't know, it's like the fight or flight syndromes. You get scared, and so you either run or you fight. And so with mental health, whenever I get panic attacks and then I get anxious and overwhelmed because I'm unfamiliar, I act out. And so because of that, I get in trouble. But the mental health groups here that are here, like DBT, CBT, again, cognitive behavioral therapy, another program, another class in group setting where you communicate about your issues. Everyone around me benefits based on as much that I can take from it, because not everyone can understand what mental health is speaking about, nor do they trust it. But with me, they do trust it because they see me, they see the change. They're like, "Wow, how'd you do that, brother? How'd you change, man?" "Oh, I changed because I started doing this." You got to take it seriously. Once you take it seriously, you start understanding that there's something happening here. And so DBT, CBT, lifeless psychotherapy groups, where we sit in the cipher and we just basically communicate about the struggles that we go through as incarcerated people, as doing life sentences, as young black men, brown men that's doing life sentences in a system that is a microcosm of society. So at the end of the day, racism still exists in here, and we get pushed to the side. And so that adds to the problem. That adds to the mindset of changing it. And it's like, but these programs, everything that we do, these self-help, these character building, character changing groups where you got to be serious about it. And the more people see me doing it, they feel more comfortable because they're like, okay, they're not shy about it or they're not shameful about it. They see, okay, myself, brother Nate, they see us all in here doing these programs, and then they're motivated through that, and they got to trust it. You got to take everything not on face value. You got to do your homework on it, but at the same time, know and understand that you have to do the work in here, because otherwise, you're doomed.
Wow, brother, that's very enlightening. Another thing, I want to go away a little bit from the mental health programs because I know you do a lot of other programs. But I'd like you to tell people about Project Youth and your involvement in that because I'm in that with you. So could you allow the listeners to know some of the things that you do on Project Youth, brother, and how long you've been in it?
All right, thanks for the question, man. Very important, very important. So yes, we are part of the Project Youth team. For me personally, I tried to get involved with it a few times, but my institutional record and my behavior at the time didn't call for it. I wasn't ready. Then they came to me. They came to me about close to 3 years ago. I've been in the program now 3 years. They came to ask me, do I want to partake in it? Based on the fact that I take all of this seriously, because to try to change the person's mind, Project Youth is a very unique group and program that allows us to speak to the generation coming up in front of us, prevent them from coming to prison. But not even just to prevent them from coming to prison, explaining to them how exactly one can come here, even without necessarily being from the hood or being involved in drugs or being, anything. Anything can bring you here. And our opportunity which we are blessed to be able to do, is to speak to 16 and 17, 18-year-old kids that's in school that's not possibly thinking that it can ever end up in here. Because obviously, I never thought I'd be in prison. Never mind being here for 21 years, fighting to get out. I've seen the parole board 2 times, and I'm on to see them one more time. And it's not easy, but Project Youth has allowed me to have a purpose, a sense to say, okay, we're going to cultivate these young individuals and keep them from trying to think that they cannot come to prison. I do a mental awareness presentation where I explain to them how I got here. Now, you don't know who you are until someone else starts pointing these things out to you and you're forced to face it. I try to explain to people you need to check your mental health early, before, because you will be forced to deal with it in prison. And it's a tricky game. It's very tricky because everybody's playing a game. Everyone doesn't want to help, so on and so forth. And so with Project Youth, I'm very humbled because I'm speaking to young individuals that I, at one point, used to sell drugs with me. Same type of kids that I'm talking to is the individual that I, unfortunately took the life of a young man of the same age. At the time, I didn't realize this. But now here I am, able and trusted to speak to these same kids to try to bring some type of enlightenment, to help them keep from coming over here, and to at least change their viewpoint on us, because we're not all animals. We didn't ask to be treated the way we were as kids, or abused, or forced into the street life, or anything. We didn't ask for that, and so neither did they. So we need to explain to the world that it's not that simple.
Yeah, brother. It's an honor and a privilege to be out there with you, talking to these young men and young women, doing our job and trying to prevent them from making the bad decisions, bad choices, so on and so forth that we made, and which led us to prison. Um, you know, and it's an honor and a privilege to talk to these young men and women, because they're somebody else's child. And I'm just proud of you and being able to go out there and just talk about your life, because a lot of people don't like to open themselves up and be vulnerable in doing that. But another thing, if you could very quickly just let the listeners know about your plans once you are released, because me and you have talked personally about some of the things that you plan on doing when you get out. So could you please tell the listeners out there on this Beautiful Things Come From Struggle podcast what you plan to do out there, brother?
Oh yeah, so everyone needs to understand that. I need the public to know and understand that it's a privilege and it's an honor to be able to even get a chance to go back outside to redeem yourself, to show people, you are not what you did yesterday, that you're more than that. But now, outside of anybody just saying it again, like I said, dealing with the nation of gods and earths and understanding we don't never take things on face value. So I need to show and prove. And so with the knowledge that I've obtained in here, I basically put together a program designed geared towards the youth, specifically towards the youth. Because one, there's not enough of them. And so being that I was a troubled kid, lost and forgotten about and ignored, and then that made me take the life of another young individual that didn't do nothing to me. And then here I go, I'm in prison now, and I've given the opportunity to speak to somebody else's kid. It has to go forward. And so as I give it back, I created a program called TRIP, which is the Reaching Program. Now, it's in the process of being put together because I'm still in here, but with my attorney and the team around me and the people that I've been speaking with, I have put together this very, very comprehensive 4-step program geared towards the kids, where I want to teach them everything that I've learned in here and live through my lived experience, to talk about everything I've overcame and to bring that forth to them and try to reach to them ahead of time. And this way, if they need $200 to do whatever is studio time, instead of them selling drugs for that, I'll give you $200, but I'm also going to give you some real game, some real enlightenment, some real information that's going to help you, give you some hope, give you an option. The Reach In program is going to basically be a program from formerly incarcerated people who will put themselves out there to communicate to specific kids in all neighborhoods, but specifically within our own neighborhood and in our own communities. See, I destroyed my community with the act of violence that I committed and the drug dealers that I was involved with. And so because of that, I have to give it back. And the only way I can do that is through a restorative justice type of Project U type of programming that will help, give at least one kid an opportunity not to come here.
Wow, folks. See what I'm saying? We got some hidden gems up in behind the wall as well. See, we don't just interview people on the outside, but we interview people inside, man. And we want to give you all the insight of the gems, man, because we got diamonds in the rough in here. We just got to, man, smooth out those edges, man. But also, man, what this brother did not tell you is that this brother is a musical artist, brother. And so we want to let you guys, I want him to let you know a little bit, very quickly, about his musical situation, I should say.
Oh yeah, so yeah, again, so music is my passion. Communicating with people is my passion. I love it. I love to build. So with that, I use my music as a way to kind of bring it back, right? Instead of my lyrics are solely based on conversations that we can have a curriculum base with. And so with the curriculum that I build for my program, music is the best way of doing that. I produce music, I make beats from scratch. I taught myself music theory. I taught myself how to play the piano while in prison. I'm a lyricist by heart. I come from the 90s era, so it's all about the lyrics. And so today there's a bad case of promoting nonsense. So I just want to use my musical skills, my musical talent, my art at writing. I love to write. I write day in and day out. And all I do is make beats, write, and think of best ways to communicate with people. True Lives lyricist. That's what you're listening to.
Folks, man, this dude is sharp. I'm telling you, man. Well, brother, do you have any final words of wisdom or any words of encouragement that you would like to say before we end this interview, brother?
Yes, I will say this. We all get a chance to do it over. You got to do it right. It's no longer about us. It's no longer about us. We already been through it. Our job and our duty now is to keep others from doing it. And that's through all means necessary. Malcolm X thinking. By all means necessary. We need to put ourselves first on the line to tell other individuals how not to come back to prison, how not to get into the contents of selling drugs thinking that you're going to make it, because that's not real. You need to just honestly look at yourself, look in yourself, reach into yourself so that you can reach into others. Each one teach one, each one reach one. That's what it is we do. We are poor righteous teachers. We are people of the minds right now. And our duty is to elevate others. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Peace. Everybody out there, just if you see somebody hurting, if you see somebody in pain, give them a hand. Because the world's messed up out there right now. It's only us that's going to do it because the people on the other side don't care. They want us on the inside. We need to be on the outside. Peace, y'all. Peace.
You have 1 minute left.
And that, folks, is Beautiful Things Come From Struggle podcast. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening today. And with that, we're not here to preach. We're just here to reach. God bless. Peace.